Hello all. Oh, of course, it pop up on my computer. Hello all. Have a little bit different environment here. This is my old room at home here in Florida, so I had to come back and pick up my gun safe and a couple other things. It's pretty much my last trip back down here, really, for my stuff at least. But I wanted to come and make a mindset video. I had a bit of like revelation, epiphany, if you will, based off of a set of events that happened. So I just drove back down to Florida here, did the 6 hour drive, so made it in pretty decent time. And just visiting friends. One of my friends owns actually two things. One of my friends, a fellow coder, IT support. Actually, he's a coder now, developer. And I was at his home, and we were outside just chopping it up before, like the whole walking you to the car, and we just saying the last goodbyes and whatever. And we noticed a woman, a black woman. She came out of her apartment, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it until she went off somewhere, and then she came back around, and she put the siren on her car, which is kind of weird. And I was just like, she did that for a while, and it was just odd because you could see that it's kind of right outside of her door. So I'm like, it's not like she forgot where she parked or anything, and it was just kind of really odd. So I saw that, and I thought the worst of it, and I was just like, I mean, two guys sitting out here talking, and like, you think this is suspicious or something? But that could be my bias on the situation as well. And I'll get to the point of this. This is going to be a bit of a MGTOW rant. This is not financial. This is going to be someone on the emotional, non-logical side of things. So if you're not for that or anything like that, I totally understand. This is not one of the MGTOW retirement videos. This is more of a mindset video, thinking about actual growth in my mindset and how I handle things. So she gets in her car, and then I say goodbye to my friend. And I'm like, I guess she thought that maybe we was out here for her or something like that, or maybe she really was fine in her car, and that's just me and my actual bias. It could be nothing serious. But this goes into the next story. After that, I have a friend that actually owns a liquor store down here, so I went to go visit him. It's actually a liquor store. I used to work for his father at his old liquor store, or his father's liquor store back in '06 when I came back from college. So I'm in the store, and he was getting kind of swamped, but I know the system still, so I just got up to try and help the woman that was at the counter, because it was her and then somebody else after that, and then it gets swamped pretty quick, especially on a Saturday night. Went ahead, helped her out and took the money, and then I was like, oh, I got to see your ID, because she looked young. So she was like, oh, what, I'm in here all the time and everything like that. And I was like, I'm sorry, I got to see your ID. So she goes out to a car and gets her ID. Then comes the attitude. So I handle the next customer, and then she comes back with an attitude, just because she had to walk a couple feet back to her car. And I guess she felt she just didn't have to do that, or she shouldn't have had to do that. She felt to the point where I should have just let her slide. And that's a pretty big offense, especially if you work in the liquor industry, selling to underage people, minors, so on and so forth. So her license is like faded, messed up, and like broken and stuff like that. And then she's going off, and she was just like, yo, I don't know why you bugging, blah, blah, blah. So she had a bit of a New York accent, but she's like real aggressive and mad. And I'm like, this is kind of crazy. And I'm coming from Georgia, where it's just different. The people are different and everything. Like, you could say whatever you want about people in those areas or what have you, but these are people that are somewhat salt of the earth, and they make less than some of the things or some of the people here. And I'll get into that, like the relevance of that point, because the medium income for the area that I live in now is lower than what you would get paid here in Florida. Um, Sorry, my mom put like a whole bunch of stuff on the floor in here. It's like, sorry. So and she's starting to go off. So I just reacted, and I was like, yo, you're giving me this energy, and I don't really care. about you and who you are. And I'm like, yo, listen, you like she had a little bit of looks, but she got the whole, probably like a quarter-inch thick of makeup. Her lashes are all clumped up and stuff. I mean, she looked all right, but on a closer inspection, it's just like, listen, I can see through the BS, and I can see that on the inside, you're an ugly person. So I was just like, listen, man, why are you damn bugging? This doesn't make any sense. I have to check your ID, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, don't curse at me. And I'm like, cursing? I didn't even curse at you. Because, like, I really had to think, like, did I curse at this chick? And I was like, I didn't even catch her curse at you. And I was like, yo, I said, why you damn bugging? She was like, yeah, damn's a curse word. And I'm like, really? The way you talking, damn's a curse word? So I don't know. It was a hood Bible thumper. I don't get it. So she has like a lot of animosity. She had a lot of anger, and she was really going at it. And then you know what? I was like, you know what, man? Don't worry about it. I'm gonna let my friend help you out. You could just wait here. So my friend, he's on the other register, and he's an older gentleman. He's like 50 something. Like his kids are like, his youngest is like 17 or something like that. So but I've known him for a little while now and everything like that. So I was like, oh, okay, you can handle it. He takes it. He takes her stuff and starts working with her. And then she's still going off. And I was just like, listen, I was like, you're still going to be talking about this as you're walking out the door. You're literally arguing with yourself because at that point, I've already walked away and I'm just sitting down. So we're behind bulletproof glass and I got my little piece on me. I got my 45. So I'm not worried about that. And I don't want to hurt nobody either, but I will protect myself. So I hear all this stuff and I know what the situation looks like, especially in Florida. A lot of people, they're real quick to get mad and angry. Again, we'll get to my point here. I just got to do a little perfunctory and explain the story. So I was just like, this is pretty odd. This is weird. This is really kind of perplexing coming from, where I live in Georgia. And coming to see this now, this is why? So, and sure enough, as she's going out the door, she's arguing. She was like, yo, I got 30 clips in the car, blah, blah, blah. And I look at her, I was like, listen, I don't have to go to the car for mine. I can handle you right here. Like, I'm not going to the car for mine. And then after that, I really started to shut up and calm down because essentially that's a threat. She's threatening me. And I'm just threatening her in kind, but as a gun owner, concealed carry, rifle shooter, concealed carry owner, they teach you not to really make those type of threats, not to talk like that. Put yourself in the right position to escape and evade, and really trying to get out of the situation without causing any harm to yourself or to that person. Now, of course, Florida has a stand your ground laws and stuff like that, so if I'm put in a position where I cannot move or get out of that, then I can defend myself. Excuse me. But I don't want to hurt her. I mean, I don't want to shoot a woman. Like, even if she has a gun, it's like, I don't want to do it. Like that's not, if I can avoid it, I'm going to do so. Put it like that. But if I need to, I'm going to let her have it. I don't feel bad about that. Sorry, stop. Forget the scent stuff that you put on the floor before you vacuum. She just hasn't done it, so I'll just do that before I leave. So she walks out the store. She's still arguing and complaining. She's like, yeah, I could have this, blah, blah, blah. And I just started laughing. I was like, ha ha, laughing real loud. Because essentially what happens is when you put yourself in, or when you're in these situations and you already see that this person is really angry for whatever reason and they're kind of losing it, one thing you can do to, in a sense, gain the upper hand emotionally and psychologically is really kind of just laugh it off like it's nothing, showing that you care less. Because for whatever reason, people, especially women, if you show that you care less, they become more angered. Now, I said, okay, you're right, whatever, and I sat down and I was talking a little bit back and forth, but I cut it short. I kept it short. So fast forward, my friend and I are outside. This is probably like an hour and a half later. I helped a couple other customers. I have no problem with anybody else. She's just mad because she got ID'd. I ID'd other people. I ID'd other gentlemen. They were totally cool. So I talked to him, And we're going over a couple of things. My insurance dropped. It got cut in half. I was paying $160 in insurance. Now, because I live in Georgia, I paid like $80. It was to the point where December was my last payment, and I haven't had to pay anything I won't have to pay anything up until this February, a couple of days from now. And that price drop, and then that's in my car insurance, and then a couple other things that have happened in terms of like just the way people live, the environment that I'm in. And I'm seeing all this, and really it hit me, and I was like, it was one of those like, yo, this is why I don't live in Florida moments for a second. And then I thought about it, and I was just like, this is what your environment will do to you. And this is the point of everything. 10 minutes in, now we're getting to the point. This is what your environment will do to you. Your environment, in some cases, will make you more aggressive. Such as you see people that are from New York, sometimes they're stereotyped as overly aggressive, whereas people that are from farm areas, rural areas, they're a little bit laid back in some cases, right? In some cases, they're stereotyped as like not knowing as much because they don't get as much experience on certain things as you would in city life, because people are so close and they bump into each other, and there's less of actual community in these areas. So this was like really like a big epiphany moment as I'm sitting in the back talking with my friend, like in the back behind the store while he's throwing out the trash. And it really shows me that I live in South Florida, so Broward County, right above Miami, but it really shows me how much people really hate living here. Like, that's the point of all this. Like, the people really do not like where they're at in life, one. Two, where they're physically at in life, where they're mentally, like where they're at in life mentally, where they're at in life physically, and where they're at in life financially. Not in that exact order, sometimes all at the same time. And, you come into the liquor store, get your libations so you can get that distraction. A lot of times we're distracted by our environment. So because of where I live in Georgia, there's nothing that goes on. Like, I'm a man that likes going to strip clubs. I don't mind tricking. I have no problem. I tell people all the time, a bad bitch costs $100. So these normal bitches, they worth less to me. Not to disrespect a woman or anything like that, but let's just put it where it is. I can buy a bad bitch for $100 for an hour or so, get what I need done, and that's it. If I want something long term or something like that, that's not the woman you're going for anyways, because her mental is fucked up. She's cracked. So when you're looking at this and you're looking at the environment that you're in, the way people act, how women act, how other men act in certain situations, how even you act, your environment, as you would already know, I'm sure some of you already do, but your environment has a huge factor in all of that. The other day, as you see some of the videos that I put up where I was walking around the property and everything like that, I mapped out a trail around the property, and it's about like half a mile. So it's like, and that's a piece of the property that I can see. I can go in my backyard. I can let off a couple rounds of my AR, any one of my ARs, or my pistol. I could walk right back, no problem, back to my house. No cops are called. Neighbors not coming out. I'm not doing it too much. I'm not doing it early in the morning, late at night, not letting off a ton of rounds, none of that stuff. So when you have a different environment, you really want to get back to it. Almost like a safe space. I know as MGTOW, we talk about, getting back to a place of Zen, or getting to a place of Zen, a place of happiness, a place of relaxation, a fortress of solitude, as I like to call it, or a bit of a gangster's paradise, a nerd's paradise in my case. Something that's I go out back to my backyard, and it's pretty much an aviary. I could just sit out there and look at all the type of birds. I'm going to probably start bird watching. Probably start picking up playing the piano and stuff like that, because that's what they left. The reason I say all this is that I almost felt bad for her, and this is just keeping it on me, I here. But really, I felt bad for her, but I did feel good about my progress mentally, how I handled the situation. I let her know my distaste for it, and I walked away. I didn't just back down because she's, the angry black woman that's getting mad because she got ID'd. I mean, like, yo, you got ID'd. You look young. Calm down. It's not that serious. She probably just turned 22. She's not that old. And it's kind of really sad that, she's probably still mad about this. And I'm looking at it from a certain situation of not being higher or better, or holier than thou or better, but like, okay, looking at my own physical, not physical, but mental, psychological growth. And then also looking at how not just my environment has changed me, but how much I enjoy my new environment. You get to small towns, especially in Georgia, and it's just like there's nothing to do there. But that's also a good thing, because what you often see is that when you're living in these larger cities, you're paying for it. You're paying for that club that opens until 6. You're paying for all the police that are out there, all the taxes and everything. Florida doesn't have as much taxes, but it has a higher standard of living. And because of that higher standard of living and the fact that we don't have a state tax, that higher standard of living for, like, a loaf of bread, milk, gas, whatever, all of that, it's still taxes. You're still getting taxed, but you're getting taxed on a higher amount. So even though it doesn't have, per se, like a state tax like the state of Georgia, where it has a local tax and a state tax, you still get taxed because now you have to pay more. You have to earn more. And a lot of people are not in the position to where they're comfortable financially. They're comfortable mentally. And that's really kind of sad. Like, I even talked to my friend and I was just like, not to say I hate it here or anything like that. I'll come back, have fun, blah, blah, blah. It's not that big a deal, but this is my home. This is where I grew up for the past, all my life, really. From Miami, I left at 4 from Miami, and then where I live, where my mom lives, or where I used to live, in Broward, I was here for 31 years until I just moved out a couple months ago. And you notice a difference as soon as you cross the state line, how people drive faster, how more people ride your tail, how more people are on the road. You have to understand, man, like, when you change your, not only change your environment, but also change your mind, the way you look at things. And these things go hand in hand. One may come before the other. They come at the same time. It's really blurred. But for me personally, I worked on the mental side, looking at Jungian psychology and learning about the anima and the animus, the man within the woman within the man, and starting to integrate your shadow and accepting your shadow, your dark side, if you will, like, if you want to call it that, your aggressive side, but knowing when to use it and knowing when not to use it, calming down, but knowing when to heat up at any point in time. And when you do that mental work, it could really put you in a better place in terms of the way you handle certain things. Now, in that situation, one of the reasons why I did shut up and I ultimately calmed down is because, 1, I do not want to discharge my weapon. 2, I don't want anything to keep me from my peace and the videos that I make about my peace. Those videos aren't really showing off. Not totally. Those videos are, gentlemen, if you put yourself in your mind, if you put yourself in a different position, if you take opportunities when necessary and when possible, if you go ahead and look at what's going on in your life and you say you want to make a change, then make a change for the better, make a change for the positive. Whether that's talking about it more like I do, I'm a blabbermouth on that, or if you want to keep it secret, go ahead and do so. But I really feel good about the progress that I've made mentally for me to handle things a certain way tonight. She called me broke. You look this way. You look dusty. A lot of things that black men, we hear from our black women on a regular basis. For the white men listening to this, you might get called a loser or a degenerate. And it's just like, I just responded to her and I laughed because it's like I'm in a better place now and I feel proud of where I'm at. And I'm like, I own 18 acres. And I just laughed at her. I was like, I was like, yo, I own 18 acres. Calm down. And she could talk all that trash, but it showed me that in a sense, there's a lot of hurt and pain. And I've talked to Edward Anderson about this. Uh, and there's a lot of pain in the manosphere. There's a lot of pain that we all have, and we all have to work on that. We really do. So maybe you use Jungian psychology, and use Jungian psychology, and you start to integrate your anima, or so you start to integrate your shadow, and do your research on that. I always tell people, take what I say with a grain of salt. If you're not taking what I say with a grain of salt, you're low on sodium. That's like my little saying. I'll probably start using it more. But take what I say with a grain of salt and do your research. Do your research on the mental techniques that you can use to actually improve your situation, improve your mindset, improve the way you look at the world, the way you look at certain things in your life, the way you actually take and accept things, the way that you can actually move through this world. Because it's very important. It's necessary that we do all these things, because even if we improve the physical and go out there and work out and lose all types of weight, get the 6-pack, you're walking around with your shirt off, so on and so forth. But then that one person comes to you and calls you a name, or you go through, you have a bad situation that happens. And that really just something like that, so small, so minuscule, can fuck up your day, as in, being asked for your ID and then not backing down when you feel a certain way about it. I was in that position. I definitely was. I still am. But if Jungian psychology means you integrate your shadow, or it talks about integrating your shadow and, trying to move towards enlightenment, towards better self-awareness, higher level, higher plane of thinking, or in some cases, as the kids would say, you'd be unbothered, no fucks given. I think then maybe we also need to integrate our blue pill side, not being guarded or protected or being aggressive, but also not being a pushover, not being a simp, not being a beta male, just being balanced, being a balanced individual, not being purple pill, or if you want to do that, or if you are purple pill, or how about this? If you're red pill and you want to be red pill, then be that. Accept it. Like, you accept being red pill. I don't think some people have. They people talk about it and things like that, or I went through it. But I'm gonna talk from my standpoint. I don't want to make an assumption here, but at some point I wasn't really comfortable with being red pill. And then I started getting it. I started getting a little bit more, and I was like, well, I don't even want to be blue pill. Fuck that. Simp ass, beta male, cuck ass shit. And then I thought about that. It's just like, that's also a part of me. And I think it's very important that we integrate all these things and become balanced individuals. And a part of that might be that you have to change your environment. You have to spend time alone. You have to talk to yourself. Not like a complete freaking weirdo, but talk to yourself. Have a good conversation with yourself. Talk to the inner feminine, or just your inner person, inner child, whatever you want to call it, however you want to, think about that. But I think it's very important that we do this mental work, we do this internal work, because being stuck in red pill rage, or as I like to call it, the maroon pill. Everybody's got a fucking color. Magenta, I don't know, cyan, I don't know. I think cyan is blue. But being the maroon pill, that deep dark red, and that just being your existence. BGS Ibmore, or Black Gnostic Speaks, for his MGTOW content. But BGS talks about this recently, and a lot of people identifying with their pain, or their pain becoming their identity. And if you allow that to happen, then is it you? Also, is it really that bad? Maybe you identifying with your pain actually allows you to learn and actually allows you to grow and actually changes you to the person that you actually want to be. But will you accept that person? Is that who you want to be? And I think that's kind of the dilemma that that we as some of us MGTOW are going through, especially as we get into this. I had a long conversation with my brother, and he's going through the red pill content, and it's just I was like, yeah, I've been in the space for about 3-4 years. I've been on this journey for a little bit longer, but found the space about 4 years ago now, and really started to talk to people and really get more into the content, and I'm happy learning about hyperstophilia, the Briffault's law, the 80-20, things like that. Learning more about female nature. I think that's very important. You guys already got the point. So I'm just gonna end it here. But I just want to say, hey, brothers, work on yourself before you work on anybody else. You've heard this in so many ways. Yes, this is one of my more emotional videos. We're talking about feelings, but also it talks about the logic side, understanding who you are, getting a better idea of what you want out of your life. And I think that's very important. So, gentlemen, as always, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy your day. I'm going to go to sleep. I've been driving a lot, so I'm going to go to sleep and probably think about this a little bit more, but just not the same anger. Not a fake smile on my face or anything like that, but just thinking about the fact that, Mike, you've grown. Like, that was the final boss, and I felt like I defeated it. I really do feel like I defeated it, and that was, that's an improvement, and I'm really almost glad that I'm actually glad that it happened. Anyways, I think I said bye already. This time I really mean it. Y'all have a nice one. Peace and be safe.